What's going on, guys? We're recovering from the wet weather and taking advantage of it and doing some PM, preventative maintenance, and some upkeep to our tools. Today we are sharpening blades. Now, a lot of people talk about sharpening blades, but they don't really get into the art and skill of it. So I'm going to try my best to show you how to do it with a hand grinder, because most of us, especially us starting out guys, don't have the $400 little machines you can slip it in that puts that 45-degree angle on it. So let me show you the best way you can to get as close to the manufacturer edge as you can using a grinder. Now remember, I have safety glasses on and ear muffs. Now I recommend you don't have to have earplugs or ear muffs. If you want to be able to hear when you're 80, you'll be smart and you'll do it every time you do anything. But just keep in mind, the last time I did this, guys, I had safety glasses on and still got a piece of metal in my eye. Okay? So be smart. This is not something to play with. Some people you might even want to wear gloves. That is totally optional because these blades do get hot and you won't think about it. You get really sharp edges on these things and you get burrs and you can cut yourself. So anyways, let's dive in and I'll show you what's going on the best I can. Now remember, I'm going to be trying to film this with one hand and sharpen a little bit on the other. Okay, so just bear with me. It might not be the best, but this is to get more of a point across than really a exact how-to as far as showing you, but I'm going to do the best I can. All right, guys, let's see. Got our grinder right here. Now notice that this disc, you probably can't tell from there, it is a little smaller. A brand new disc on here. Let me show you. Here's a brand new one. Now, being a little bit bigger, it can make it a little easier to get into those nooks and crannies on some of them. Now, I do recommend that if you have a mulching type or a 3-level blade, a hand grinder might be the only way you can go about sharpening them, is because of those multiple contours in the blade. If you are able to do some of that, the front and the back part of it with a bench grinder, I recommend doing that if you can. But if you have to do the whole thing like I do with hand grinder, that's fine. I'll show you how to get through that. So, now, I've already sharpened one side. All right. I like my blades to be sitting flat, and so you can work on one side at a time. All right. Some people, you could be facing them like this if you wanted to and grind up and down. I like the sparks to be shooting away from me, and as you'll see, they'll be hitting against this wall. Now, I don't have anything around me flammable, no gas cans, no cardboard papers, anything like that. And that's something you guys need to remember, is look where you're sharpening your stuff. Whether you have frayed jeans, anything like that, any type of possible thing that could catch fire. I know it's a 1 in a million thing, but it happens. All right. So let's take a look at this. Here's a already sharpened side of it. You can really see it there. Now, we're not looking at how clean it is. Yes, it's very clean and shiny looking. What we're looking at is this now you don't want to touch that, it's really sharp. This very clean straight edge. Now let me see if I can turn it this way. See how it's got almost the natural angle on it? It does have a little bit of dip right there on the end. That's just natural because we're using a hand grinder, so we're not perfect. But if you look, it doesn't bend over, it doesn't come up from underneath like this. It's a one slope away with a flat bottom. Okay, you see that? It's got a flat bottom and it slopes up into it. That's what makes your blade. Okay, that's how it comes when it's brand new. That's how you need to keep it. I got a lot of people who like to cut this way. They'll cut as much as they can and then they'll come back in this way to try to get that knife edge. Well, what you're going to end up doing, guys, is you're going to round it off. Not when you sharpen it. Yeah, it's going to have that sharp edge knife because you came this way and made a knife out of it. But once sand starts hitting it, and even after your first mow, it's just going to squash that edge down that you've got and dull it out. So the wear and tear you want looks like this. Here's the other side. All right. Now again, it has that little rounded off tip that's natural wear and tear and from sharpening with a hand grinder. But Again, what we're looking at is it's flat. It's 100% flat right here. Now it has its dings, and it's not perfectly, and you can see it's ate up a little bit right here. We're not gonna focus on trying to get that dead straight again. All right, you don't need to do that. So here's and you can see it's still dirty, it's still got crap on it versus the already sharpened side. Bear with me, guys. It's a little tough, a little backwards here. Sorry. But we're gonna focus on starting at the top. All right, and we're gonna grind down towards the edge so they can create that natural cut edge. We're not gonna try to grind the whole thing at once. We'll do that when we get it more even, and I'll try to explain that as we go. All right, so hang tight. All right, here we go. Here's the view. I'm sorry if it gets loud here, guys. You might need to turn it down. But if you see me stop grinding, go ahead and turn it back up so you can hear what I'm telling you. Now this is the already sharpened side. Now let me see if you can see, if it focuses for me, on the tip of the blade, on the sharpest edge, if you can see those dark spots. All right, right there. You kind of see some showing up there, and then towards the end. That's where the metal's actually heated up because it's getting really thin, and that's a sign that you're getting this edge down to that really sharp angled part. So we're gonna start at the top part and work our way down. Now that's a little exaggerative, but check it out. Here we go. Now you can see where I have started grinding on this top part, okay? Now this hasn't been touched yet, obviously. We want to make a foundation based off of this top part. We want to get all the imperfections out of it, and we want to be able to bring a nice gradual, one angled, smooth drop down off of this. And a lot of people like to start right there on the edge. Oh, they love it. They just bear down. They think that's where the edge is. They think they need to really focus on that. Why do I need to worry about this up here? You sharpen the entire thing. You don't sharpen this. Oh, it's nice and sharp. Then you buzz the top to make it shiny. You keep that manufactured, flat, beautiful edge. You don't want it to. You don't want your. I can't even think about how to show it, but. You don't want it to look like this, which is that's how it's going to look. If you always sharpen the top or the very blade tip, and then work your way to the top, you're slowly going to just start bending it in. Then you're going to try to level it back out, bending. It's going to ruin your blade. But if you start at the top, it's going to keep that angle. Start at the top and keep that angle. I hope that makes sense. Let me work on it for just a second, and then I'll show you when you get more towards the bottom how you want to watch for how you know when you're finished. All right, so I've started dropping it down, and we're starting to get those blue spots. Those blue spots mean that's where it's starting to get thin on those on the edge, and really give you that knife sharp edge without having to come underneath. So, but we haven't even gotten this part to level off yet, and this part over here. So the middle's fine. But just keep working it and bring it in, and it'll make it all one level. Alright, right there at the end, we got a whole bunch of it to show up, okay? Let's see if that focuses. It's not the, there we go. Alright, so you really got these little blue edges and they're all across. Let's try to come down here on an angle. Now I have not even went underneath it one time. Let's just bring it down to level edge. See me? There's nothing been touched underneath. We're just staying on top, and I'm going to tell you right now, that is sharp. Woo! It's hot too. Now one thing I like to do, very lightly, go underneath it and run a quick little buzz underneath, and then one more time on top. Okay? That's all it takes. In case there's any burrs, and it's kind of rounded under because I want to have that the sharpest you can find, edge you can find. I don't like to run it flat across it. I don't keep running it underneath. Just a quick, so I can run my fingers under it, and no burrs. So, after you get that done, so we've gotten our blade sharpened, and we're gonna need to balance it. A lot of people don't balance their blades, and they wonder why their decks shake, they get uneven cuts. So I'm gonna show you guys how to balance a blade. Now this is an old school way. This is a very old school way. Get a screwdriver. Now this is a lock off of my trailer. It'll work just fine. See, you don't want to get it into the grooves. You want to leave it on these flat spots. It's totally fine. And try to set it in there. Set it right there into that hole. And balance it. If you have a screwdriver, you don't have to worry about the balancing it. Just hold that as level as you can. Boom. You see how that's not, if it was doing this, all right, that means it's heavy over here, and we need to sharpen, we need to take more metal off over here so that it'll even out. And you just keep on, I like to do this, rub it in and out. If there's any dirt or anything right there that might inhibit the movement of the blade there. So let's see. Looks like it's barely wanting to go this way. You see that? That's okay. This is almost perfect. So that's how you sharpen the blade, and that's how you balance it. All right, guys. I hope that helped.